Coming at you live from my vehicle en route home on a Monday afternoon. Yes. Actually, it's kind of funny. This might be one of the last times, if not the last time, that I record from here. On the regs anyway. Did a lot of things this last weekend, mostly worked on carpet cleaning, but my wife had cleared out part of the basement office area for herself, which in turn will make it easier for me to go down now, since most of the other stuff left is mine, and clean out things for myself. So I am hoping this week to work on that a lot, and by next week I should be able to actually record down there. That would be pretty exciting. Cross your fingers. I know I got mine crossed. It's really hard to drive to. Anyway, all right, let's go through what is going on. Well, as you all have noticed, I've switched over to Anchor.fm for podcast hosting. A couple great things about them. They're completely free. That's huge right there. So I'm able to have all, now as of this recording, 28 episodes up for you guys to listen to at your leisure. That's pretty great right there. The other cool thing I'm able to do is actually record ads and throw ads in intermittently. So from now on, you'll hear me go from things that are bugging me to a quick ad, and then come right back into things that I'm into. So you may hear a little bit of difference on that. So bear with me on it. I know ads aren't great, but hey, if I can make a few pennies and help cover some of these costs, that would be great. I'll take it. I am up to a whopping 11 cents already. But please go listen to it, subscribe, all that stuff. Listen to some of the older episodes if you haven't heard them in a while. They're really great. And I've been going back and listening to those old ones too, because I hadn't heard them in a while. And I plan on bringing guests in more often and doing more of that stuff like we were doing there at the beginning. So bear with me, hang in there. There's also the option to help support this podcast if you wish to. Obviously, there is zero need for that, but if you would like to, you are more than welcome to. You can do, I think as low as 99 cents a month, you can help support and then go on up from there. If you help me out, who knows? There may be something in it for you down the road. Right now, I don't have a whole lot. I'm trying to get everything set up. But I'm planning on getting into doing reviews of tech products and tech gadgets as well. And for those things that I don't need or want, or I already have copies of or whatever, you are more than welcome to them. Especially, I would have to give those to the donators or people who help out first, and then we'll make our way out through there. Anyway, enough said. We'll see if all that shit comes to a head or not. I'll be surprised. I'm definitely not asking for any of that, but you're more than welcome to. I know I've spent money on worse things. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get into what's going to happen as far as when the basement's completed. I'll definitely be recording the podcast down there, so I won't be driving and talking. I'll probably still be driving and talking. I just won't be recording it as a podcast. And I will also be doing some of these tech reviews like I talked about. Going to set up a green screen, a few other little things in there. Do some reviews of some of my favorite gadgets and items that I own. And hopefully get some new stuff in from companies and manufacturers and stuff to do reviews on them. Some I'll have to send back, some I get to keep. It just depends on what it is. But I'm looking forward to getting involved in that. I've had some offers for that. I did do one little one you guys might have seen. The UmiDigi U-Watch 2, I believe it's called. Pretty great little watch for the money. I mean, $30. Come on. Anyway, so there'll be more stuff like that, and I'll probably do more in-depth reviews with them than I did with that item. I didn't really have anything set up to do a unboxing and all that stuff at the time. Hoping to have a lot more of that type of stuff set up from now on. So, again, I appreciate you guys, and stick with me. It's going to get great. I really think so. All right. And let me give a big shout out, all right, to my Canadian listeners. I mean, what's that all about, right? I do have Canadian listeners. It's pretty great. I was checking that out and very excited to see that I had a contingent of listeners in Canada. Not a ton of them, but some. And that's pretty funny. And most of my listeners also are through iTunes, of course. You know, Apple's got the market on that stuff, and really, they're kind of the ones that got the whole podcast deal started. So kudos to them. Keep listening. Please subscribe. Please write a review. Do whatever you can, man. Take the time to do it. I've written reviews for plenty of podcasts. I highly suggest you do the same. Not just mine, but anybody's that you appreciate. It does help. Okay? If nothing else, just to say, hey, good work. Good job. I've also set up an email. So, dadsnark@gmail.com. dadsnark@gmail.com. So you can hit me up there if you have any questions, comments, suggestions, whatever. If you're a suburban dad or mom, man, I don't differentiate. And you would like to be on the show, we can talk about it and see what we can do. Okay, now, things that are bugging me. Things that are bugging me. Well, I could tell you a couple different ones. I mean, I've talked a lot about the shootings and the guns and all that bullshit. But I would say that I think what's really bugging me out there are people that just mindlessly follow. And I've alluded to this before with old Donnie Trump and his followers, his elite lackeys that just follow whatever he says and does. Just to give you an example, there's a story about a guy who was at one of his rallies a couple weeks ago, maybe even last week, and the guy was a little bit chubby, a little fat, right? Hey, I'm a little chubby. Anyway, this guy's a huge supporter of Donald Trump's, and I guess the guy was up front. Donald Trump kind of saw him when he's standing up there trying to figure out what to say, what he can get people to chant next. And he kind of looked down and saw this guy and thought this guy was trying to interrupt his speech or to protest his speech. And Donald Trump started making fun of his weight and saying that he looks gross and disgusting. Yes, Donald Trump was making fun of someone else's weight. And it turns out, after the speech or whatever, that I guess some of Trump's inner circle or whatever kind of pulled the guy aside and apologized or whatever. They also pulled the president, I'm saying that, can you hear me do the quotation marks? President aside as well, and told him, hey man, that guy's a follower of yours and all that. So I guess the president made a deal to call the guy, and he called, and I don't know if he apologized. Who the fuck knows? But in the article, in the interview with the guy that got made fun of for being fat by our commander-in-chief, whew, there is a sentence I never thought I would say out loud, guys. The guy professed his love still for Donald Trump and said, hey, you know, I love the guy. I'm here to help him no matter what. And I'm like, Jesus. I mean, what did he give him? You know, did he give him like $100,000 or something? How can you still support this guy? Not just because he's making fun of you if you're chubby or whatever, but just in general, with all the things that have happened, how can you still mindlessly just follow this person and do this? So it's not just him and it's not just those followers, but it's also, let's talk about the Second Amendment people, man. This last weekend, there was all kinds of crazy shit going on. I heard there were 3 somewhat designed or set up attempts to go into Walmarts and other stores and open fire. And then here in Kansas City, in the Kansas City area, we also had a couple dumb shits walk into a Walmart with their pistols on and their rifles and go to buy ammo, is what they said they were there to do. Yeah, because, I mean, you know, that's not going to scare the fuck out of people, because recently there was a shooting in a Walmart that killed 22 people, right? So why not? So I had seen the story about this, and people were like, oh, it's not the guns and it's the people, that are killing people. It's not the guns, and guns. Some people were like, guns aren't scary. And so I went on there and I wrote, guns are not scary. Dipshits who wear guns to Walmart are scary. And I had a woman respond to me and she said, oh, so I'm scary? And then her next comment was, oh, so I'm a dipshit too? And my response to her was, hey, you're starting to get it. Because, yeah, you are a dipshit if you wear a gun into a Walmart. Sorry, you are. And I pointed out to her that shooting and shopping sound a lot alike. They kind of almost the same amount of letters. And they're spelled similarly, but they're two different things and they require different tools for the two different tasks. You are not required to have a gun to go into a fucking store. All right? It's absolutely ridiculous. And she came back and said she has the right to protect her kids and stuff when she's out and about. And I'm like, look, man, plain and simple in my eyes, if you're wearing a gun into a store like that, you're showing off. End of story. There's really no other reason that you would be doing it. If you genuinely are that scared to go out in public without a gun on you, without being strapped, then you just need to stay the fuck home. First of all, you need to go get some help because mentally you have some issues. And second of all, you need to just stay the fuck home until you can get over this. Regardless, people should not be going into Walmart right now. If this is a demonstration you wanted to prove something, why don't you wait it out a couple more weeks, assholes, and be considerate of people whose family members and friends and shit were murdered in that fucking Walmart? Why don't you do that? I don't get it, man. I don't get it. I really don't. So I let her have it a little bit, and then I just said, I defy anyone to tell me any other reason to wear a gun or into a Walmart or into a store other than to show off. And I got zero responses after that. Because you know why? There is no other reason. There is no other reason at all. There were people in that Walmart where the big shooting took place and 22 people died. There were people in there that were strapped. They had weapons and they hid behind things just like everybody else did. So your whole good guy with a gun beats bad guy with a gun scenario is full of shit. Most people aren't going to do that. All right. So there's the gun people. Then another really good one that I saw was apparently the mayor of Dayton, Ohio, where the other shooting was within 12 hours of the Walmart shooting a couple weeks ago. The mayor of that town, apparently that mayor, along with the mayor of El Paso, I believe, is where the Walmart shooting was, both had suggested they did not want Donald Trump to come visit the scenes of these crimes, right? But he came anyway, and it fell on deaf ears, and he showed up. Anyway, so he shows up to Dayton. The mayor greets him. She's amiable, whatever. And then after he wasn't there anymore, there was an interview with her, and she expressed her feelings about not caring for Donald Trump and how she doesn't agree with things he does and says and blah, 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 blah. That woman, that mayor, has since received death threats. Death threats, man. She has to have a security detail now because there are crazy Trumpies. Not all Trumpies are this crazy. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying all the people who follow Trump are this crazy. But there are crazy Trumpies who are threatening to kill her now. So she has to have a security detail. So I see this story, right? And I can't help myself. I have to read the comments. So the first one is this lady, and she says, oh, so you're all smiles and stuff when the president shows up. And then he leaves, and you give a nasty interview and say nasty, horrible things about him. And now you have to face the consequences of your words. And all I could write to that, and all I could say to that lady was, yeah, she deserves those death threats. You're right. Because The lady obviously misses the fucking point, man. Maybe the mayor was all smiles and shit, and then the mayor turned around and behind his back stabbed him in the back or whatever, man. It doesn't really matter. Does she deserve death threats because of that? Does anyone deserve death threats at all? No is the answer, guys. No. Nobody does. Holy shit, dude. This guy's truck is effed right next to me, man. I got to get away from this truck. Holy shit. This thing is getting ready to explode. Bro, you're going to explode, man. You need to just pull over somewhere. Holy shit. Oh my God, man. There's smoke pouring out of that thing. Yeah, go on up by me, please. Oh my gosh. Of course, the thing looks super old as well. Anyway. All right, that truck's gone now. All right, so that's what's bugging me are people who have mindless allegiance, right? Mindless allegiance means that you can't rethink your support for somebody and your support for a topic or an ideology or an amendment in this case with the Second Amendment. You can't rethink the way things are in order to make your own mind up and make your own decisions and thoughts on things. I mean, I support the right to bear arms, right? I do. I don't think we need semi-automatic assault rifles, but, you know, I understand why they exist because they look cool, right? That's why people have them. I don't think we need magazines that go in them that hold 100 bullets or 50 bullets or whatever, do we? But whatever. So, I mean, I think the way to solve this is maybe take some of that stuff off the market right now until we can figure out why people are going into these places and murdering people and then, you know, then we can start to bring that stuff back. I'm not talking about getting rid of it forever. I'm not talking about taking guns away from people that already have them. I'm talking about not selling them anymore right now. Okay? Really, we don't need them at all, but that's just my opinion. I get the whole idea behind some of that stuff. But I don't know, man. I just wish we didn't think that way. That's all. All right. So, and then the same thing with someone that you're following, a president or a politician or whatever. You can't have mindless allegiance, people. You have to make up your own decisions in your own mind. I mean, I don't agree with everything that politicians, even that I vote for. I don't agree with everything they say. So when you support somebody, that doesn't mean you have to agree with everything they say. It's not, I won because my person won the election. That's not how it works. It's not like a sports team. This is our country, and these are our citizens. We need to be picking the people that best support all of our citizens. Black, white, straight, gay, Asian, trans, whatever. It doesn't matter. Okay? The other thing that goes out there a lot is immigration, right? Yeah, I support immigration if it's done legally. Absolutely. I also understand why these people are fleeing some of these countries. They are in mortal danger. So I understand that. Do I think that the border has kind of been taken advantage of in the past? Absolutely. There's no doubt about it. I do not support everybody just coming the fuck over here. I don't. I really don't. At the same time, I also really have a big problem with little kids in cages. I have a huge problem with taking kids away from their parents and breaking up families. So that doesn't mean that I suggest there be an open door to our country. It means that if people are risking their lives and their children's lives to cross the border, cross a desert, to get to our border, to cross it, there's something's up, man. And maybe we need to be investigating that and figuring that out instead of just trying to build a wall and trying to segregate people. And I just don't get all of it, man. I really don't. Again, I had somebody respond because I said, you know, Jesus, he opened his arms to immigrants and to poor and to this downtrodden and all that. That guy cited, right? And I had to have someone respond and say, God said you live by the laws of the country you're in, or the land that you're in. And the land here is legal immigration, legal documentation. I'm like, yeah, I agree with that. That's true, right? I'm not going to get into a God and Jesus matchup. But at the same time, I also know that putting kids in cages and separating families is horrible. Horrible. We're doing this in the most shitty fashion possible. It's not a big surprise either. So I just see a lot of people out there saying, one way or the other, my way or the highway, right? And that's a joke. It's never your way or the highway. If it's your way or the highway, then you need to get the fuck out. Because there is always room for mediation. There is always room in the middle. And if you can't think for yourself enough to just not mindlessly follow somebody, then you're an imbecile. And you need to give back your internet card and get the fuck up off the internet. You're a moron. Think for yourself, dummies. All right. We're going to take a quick break here. I'm going to settle down a little bit. And then we're going to come back. And I'm going to talk a little bit about what I'm into. Thanks for hanging with me, everybody. All right, and we're back. Okay, so things that I am into. Let's talk about that. Let's see. Again, I'm super pumped about seeing It, Part 2. I already got tickets from me and Mikey to go check that sumbitch out. We're excited. Of course, my kids are chomping at the bit, wanting to see it in the theater, all that stuff. Guys, I got to go see it first. They don't listen to this podcast, by the way. I don't want them to. But I got to go see it first because I've read it a couple times and listened to the audiobook version of it. And I can tell you there's some stuff in there that if they filmed it, I really don't want my kids to see it. A little bit deranged. But anyway, we're going to go check that out and we'll see. Who knows? Other things that I am into right now. Well, they announced that indeed Ewan McGregor is going to be back as Obi-Wan Kenobi, or Old Ben Kenobi in this case, because this is going to be a series on Disney Plus about Obi-Wan Kenobi. I'm assuming it takes place, hopefully, after Revenge of the Sith and before A New Hope, so in between episodes 3 and 4, as Obi-Wan Kenobi would be a little bit older then, and I know Ewan McGregor, he's not old, but he's getting up there, so can't see him making him a lot younger. But I'm looking forward to that, man. I think that'll be great. I'm so psyched for Disney Plus because I cannot wait for The Mandalorian. They're also doing a Cassian Andor and K2SO show on there, or series as well. I'm looking forward to all these series so far that they've announced. I think it's going to be great stuff. They've got a Marvel series as well, I believe, with... who is it, man? I think it's Falcon and Winter Soldier. That should be interesting as well. So, looking forward to all that stuff. What am I into right now? Well, we started watching The Boys. It's on Amazon Prime. Definitely not for the squeamish. Pretty rough stuff if you haven't seen it. I think I talked about this before. I'd read the first couple issues of the comic. So when I found out they were making it, I wasn't quite sure. But we started watching it, and the wife and I just love it. So I highly recommend that. If you haven't seen that, you should check it out. There's some stuff in it that's pretty hard to watch. And I'm not talking about gore. I'm talking about just ideas and principles in it that are very difficult to endure. But you should check it out if you get a chance. It's really done well. I can't wait to watch the rest of it. I think the main guy in it actually is the son of Dennis Quaid, and I cannot remember his wife's name. Anyway, it's their son. But he's great. He's a great actor. I think he was in Hunger Games, actually. We determined that he was in Hunger Games. Really good actor. And then, of course, I cannot think of the actor for this either, but he played Scotty on the new Star Treks. He played Uh, Judge Dredd as well. Great actor. He's in it as well. It's just a good show. I highly recommend it. Check it out if you get a chance. Other than that, we watched another episode this weekend of Queer Eye for the Straight Guy. And it's so interesting to me that there's just so much going on in our world. And about the only people that I can see, and again, I know they get money to make these shows, and I've discussed this as well, and these guys are really doing great things for people. And it's very touching. If you have not seen the transformations that take place, and I'm not just talking about physically, I'm just talking about psychologically with people that are kind of trapped in a rut and doing the same things the same ways, and it's really pretty magical. And I'll tell you what, man, I really respect those guys, and I think they do great things. Kudos to them and for what they're doing. Speaking of that, another really unexpected, amazing thing that I've seen this year, and pretty emotional as well, is Cody Lee. I don't watch America's Got Talent, but I had heard about Cody Lee, and so I went and watched, on YouTube, his first performance, and it was incredible. And he just did Bridge Over Troubled Water this last week, I believe. And apparently he got permission from Paul Simon to do that song, actually, which is insane. But man, he knocked it out of the park. It is amazing. If you haven't seen it, I'll put a link in here for you guys to check it out on YouTube. It is incredible, and I highly recommend you check it out. It's hard to believe how great this guy is. And I think I said it to someone else, but it's not just that he's an amazing person with a disability. He does. I believe he has severe autism. That's not what it is. He's an amazing talent, period. I don't care that he has a disability. He is an amazing talent. And it is a pleasure to watch him and to listen to him. He is incredible. Check him out if you get a chance. Cody Lee. Kodilee. Check him out. All right. What else? Not a whole lot. I mean, I've seen a few things here and there. I keep joking about Mac and Me. I watch a lot of Pluto TV. I think I've talked about that as well. If you have a streaming device, go download the Pluto TV app and check that out. It's completely free, but they have all these streaming channels, all kinds of different stuff you can watch. And one movie that keeps appearing on there a lot is Mac and Me. Horrible movie. Worst ripoff of E.T. in history. But kind of fun to watch because it's so bad. Check it out if you get a chance. I keep putting up pictures about it and stuff because it just cracks me up every time I see it. Other than that, I can't think of a whole lot. I finally did watch, the missus and I, the other night, we finally watched Her, the Spike Jonze film from a few years ago. We just never got around to watching it before now. About the gentleman who falls in love with, it's Joaquin Phoenix. He falls in love with his operating system. Basically, it's set slightly in the future, and it's a Spike Jonze mindfuck movie, so be prepared. But it's set slightly in the future, and this gentleman is able to buy an operating system that is created with has artificial intelligence, so it's able to learn and adapt from him. Scarlett Johansson does the voice of the operating system, Samantha, in the film, and he falls in love with his operating system because, it gets him. It's really interesting. I highly recommend that film. If you haven't seen it, I was pretty floored, pretty blown away. And so was the wife. I mean, she and I were we were amazed at what an interesting idea it is. And wow, just really well executed. Check it out if you get a chance. Joaquin Phoenix, as always, was fantastic in it. But I would have to really give some serious props as well. That role of Samantha was nothing simple. Scarlett Johansson really did a great job of it. So check it out if you get a chance. Really good film. Not much else besides that, guys. I mean, I got some toys I'm playing with and getting ready to get the studio set up. I picked up a a Stream Deck Mini. Not sure if you guys are familiar with that. It's a device that has programmable buttons on it that are little tiny LCD screens. You can program different tasks. A lot of streamers use it because they do Twitch games. You know, they record themselves playing games and stream that stuff, live stream that stuff. People were into it for that. That's not what I'll be using it for, but I will be using it for a lot of cool things in the studio. So I will show that thing off when I get a chance. That's about it, guys. Not much else to report. Again, please continue to support the podcast. Listen to it, review it, subscribe to it, the whole 9 yards. Tell friends about it, please. And again, if you want to contact me and you're interested in possibly being on the podcast, or if you just have some suggestions or comments, it is dadsnark@gmail.com. So dadsnark@gmail.com. Thanks, everybody. But until next time, get off my lawn.